Hi everyone, it's Marla. Welcome back to Twin Astrology. This is going to be a twin flame tarot reading for the lunar eclipse in Aquarius. Today is July 27th and the eclipse is happening today. Well, first of all, let me just say my website is twinastrology.com if you would like a personal reading. Also reminding you guys that I'm going to be doing a twin flame workshop that's being hosted by Rob and Angie at Twinfinity. Dio Veselinoff, Debbie Dubois, and Kelly McKinstry at Encompass Yourself are also going to be facilitators at that conference. It's happening in Banff, Canada, the first weekend in October. That's actually the day that Venus goes retrograde, is the day that the conference starts. So if you want to come out and heal some of your feminine energy, we would love to have you. And I'm going to put a link to more information about that if any of you are interested. Now I'm going to do this reading a little bit differently than I normally do. I'm going to do it as if I'm doing a personal reading for someone. I'm just going to use this photograph of the cards today, although I will be drawing cards as I go along in the reading. This is just easier for me to do today, and it's all about ease right now, guys. So I'm also going to talk about the cards for the most part as if I'm talking to one person. I'm going to do it from the perspective of the divine feminine. So when I talk about you, I'm talking about the divine feminine. When I talk about them or he, I'm talking about the divine masculine. But remember, this isn't related to gender. The opposite gender can carry that energy. You can be any combination of twins. You don't have to be a male and a female. And you can resonate with messages from both sides because we are becoming so balanced in our masculine and feminine energy right now. Of course, the Lion's Gate opened 2 days ago as well. So we are in the midst of the Lion's Gate portal. So without further ado, I'm going to start the reading. What I would like you all to do right now is set your intentions for the reading. What do you hope to learn from this reading? What do you need to know? What kind of confirmations do you need? And it's 1:33 on the clock. So a good time to start. Okay, so the overall energy of your union right now is this card up here, the Three of Wands. Well, first of all, with the Three of Wands, it's saying that you're working as a team. Whatever is going on in these 3D scenario, you and your twin are a team and you've got a joint venture going. And you've set your intentions, your desires, you've sent your energy out there, and you're just waiting for the energies to return at the moment. Although, we don't wait. Let's think of it as preparing. You are both in the midst of preparing for return on the energies and intentions that you've sent out. This card is known as ships coming in, or that's the card that I refer to it as. Ships coming in. You've sent your ships out there, and now you're waiting for it to return with the goods that you're desiring. I'm getting a strong message of abundance with this card. Like what you're waiting on is just so much abundance that wants to flow to you. And that ship that's coming for you is just loaded down with everything that you've been desiring over these past years. So a lot of good messages there about your energies coming together and working on bringing this joy into your life, because we have to remember abundance comes to our life in many different ways. It doesn't have to just be through money or material goods. Abundance comes through love. It comes through time, having time to do the things that you want, having time to bring joy into your life, being able to find balance in your life. The card from the Romance Angels, where your union is overall, is the card Attraction. Okay, so the two of you are being brought together. There is an attraction that is really the impetus for all the changes that are going on and all the rewards that are coming to you. What's positive in your union right now? We have this card, Awakening. Number 19. 19 reduces to a 1. New beginning energy. This is the energy of the sun. So there's a lot of creativity. This is that manifestation, the ability to manifest the abundance that you want in your life. There's also an awakening to this connection on a deeper level, an awakening emotionally. There's a lot of joy coming in with this card as far as your union energy goes. I mean, it's the sun. It's happiness. It's love. Childhood, joy, carefree. What I'm getting is passion. There's a rekindling of passion within this union. And of course, following your heart. The Awakenings card, awakening on an emotional level, is now you're following your heart, which is the energy of the sun, which is the energy of Leo, which is the sign that we're in right now. Now, we've been working on this ability to follow our hearts for a year now, with the North Node being in Leo. And I feel this card is saying that we're having a culmination of that energy. It's finally ready to take hold within us on that deeper level. And the North Node, I can't tell you the exact date that the North Node is moving, but the nodes are getting to the lower degrees. They're at 4 degrees of Leo and Aquarius right now. And you have to remember the nodes go backwards. So it won't be too much longer before they shift into Cancer. And we start a new cycle. I also feel with this card, with its message, its title is Awakening, and I'm getting that we are awakening on another level. The energy of the Lion's Gate this year is really going to wake people up. No matter what level you're at, you're going to be waking up to the next level. Our intuition is going to become that much stronger. Third eyes are being activated. They have been continually activated for the last few months. So getting clearer about the connection and the direction that you're going to be moving to. What's challenging this union right now? We have this card over here on the right, Desire. Okay, the first thing I feel is emotions. Emotions are a challenge. They can be a challenge. A big theme that I feel in the energy right now is we're moving past being so focused and ruled by our emotions. And this is something that's going to be getting stronger as we move to the Lion's Gate and the solar eclipse around the Lion's Gate. I'll be talking more about this. Doesn't mean that we don't feel our emotions, but it's that we're doing a lot of clearing on how we get triggered emotionally and how we're going to deal with those emotional triggers. You know, in the past, when an emotional trigger came up, you might have lost your shit. You might have freaked out. You might have you might have swore at your twin. You might have cursed them in the 5D. You might have cried. You might have went kicking and screaming. That was your emotion, your emotional release. And that's all part of bringing our emotions under control. Because as we embrace this creative energy more and more, it's very important that we have a handle on our emotional reactions so that we're not manifesting negative energy for ourselves. Right? When you get triggered and you're feeling anger at your twin, and you're in that creative flow, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to pull yourselves apart because you're going to be manifesting that anger, which is separation, which is the other piece of this. The healing of separation requires that we get our emotions under control. Again, it doesn't mean we're not feeling our emotions, but we have to not let them run away with us for, days and days, a week or more at a time. So that's the first thing I get. And that also has to do with our becoming more sovereign, more independent, more able to control ourselves, be in control of our own energy. The other thing here is this card is the Chariot card. The Chariot represents forward movement, so there can be some it can be a bit of a challenge around desiring to move forward and feeling that you can't. It's 1:44 on the clock right now. Like you might really want to move forward and you feel like the brakes are being put on you. And the brakes are being put on you because it's Mars and Mercury retrograde. Saturn's retrograde. Chiron's retrograde. Neptune's retrograde. Uranus is going retrograde in a couple weeks. So it's a time where, you can't really move forward that easily. But the Chariot also is about balance and balancing your emotions, balancing your light and dark, which can be another aspect of this card. Embracing your shadow self. You see Tristan and Isolde embracing on this card. And he's got a dark cape on, she's got a light cape on. He's wearing a white shirt, she's wearing a dark green shirt. The light and the dark, embrace that. And embrace that in each other. Because just as the light holds power, the darkness holds power too. We need to integrate them. And we are integrating the light and the dark. But that could be representing where your challenge is. How are you integrating the light and the dark within? And yet another thing that I'm picking up on here is focusing too much on each other. You see how they're grasping each other so tightly. They're not giving each other breathing room almost, it feels like. So while on one hand we can have like that's a loving embrace, like God, I'm so happy I found you again. But in the negative aspect, that can be I'm clinging to you. I'm clinging to you for dear life because I need you, because I need some kind of validation from you. That's not the kind of energy that we want to be expressing right now. So one of the messages here, if it relates to you, could be you need to step back a bit. You need to focus on yourself because it's really through your own independence that you're going to find the balance that you need to get that abundance and to get that union energy. All right, so let's talk about the divine feminine energy. What's challenging you right now? 10 of Swords is your challenge. Okay. Well, this is an ending. A very strong, abrupt ending. It's a 10, so there's a culmination and a shift to something new. But this is a sword card. In this deck, it's an arrows, but generally it's a sword. It's like sharpness. It can be a painful ending. We see the lightning bolts on here. For some, it's going to feel like a complete destruction. And it's representing the destruction of your old self. That is what's ending. You aren't the person that you were when you started this journey. Now, the challenge I feel here is you've done a lot of growth and learning. Now you've got to embody it. And this is where I feel the challenge is. It's like you've got to live it. You've got to walk the talk. The swords here are representing your thoughts, your old beliefs. They're passing away. You've got to let them go. For some of you, it's not an easy let go. Again, I'm feeling kind of a split in the message. So take what resonates with you. For some, it's representing a transition. You're in a period of transition. As I said, the old you is gone, and you're ready to embrace and embody who you are on the truest level, and all the changes, the thoughts, the beliefs, the old hurts. You're ready to let them go. This card can represent a lot of heartache, feeling like you've been stabbed in the back. But it's closure to that chapter because you're stepping into more of who you are on that truer level. You're focused. You're determined. You know what your goal is and you're going to go after it. Now, for some of you, it can feel like this can be a painful process. You're in a painful transition. Perhaps you've only just met your twin flame. And it's a little bit, you still have more healing to do. And this energy can be very challenging then. You can very much feel you can feel rejected. You can feel hurt, as I said, stabbed in the back. You can feel like things are falling apart. But Spirit is saying you're being protected and you're being guided right now. There's nothing to worry about. It's just you're needing to release things that aren't serving you anymore. And I want to say that what you're awakening to here is the universe is trying to awaken you to projections and how your thoughts, when they create your reality, when you have negative thoughts, they create a lot of projections outside of yourself. And the one who projects those fears and insecurities to us the easiest is our twin. So some of the things that you might be feeling, if it's related to your twin, well, if it's related to anybody, are a lot of projections of these thoughts and beliefs that you're trying to shed. And if the process is painful, it's because the universe has to shake things up in order for you to see these projections and begin to understand them so that you can take control of your life. For the divine feminine in general, you've got to understand how fertile this period is as far as your manifestation goes, and the words that you speak, whether you speak it openly or whether you speak it to yourself, they're potent. And you're creating what you're saying. So you be aware of those words. Believe in yourself. Believe in your twin. Believe in love. And focus on that and your empowerment. Okay, how can you overcome this challenge of this Ten of Swords? Well, the universe is saying Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups here is how to overcome that challenge. They're saying there's a new beginning happening. There is love flowing to you. There's abundance flowing to you. And look at the brilliant full moon on this card. Perfect today for the full moon lunar eclipse. Yes, there's a releasing going on. But because you have to empty your cup. When the Ace of Cups comes out, the message I always get is you want to fill your cup, but your cup is already full. Your cup is full of your old karma, your fears, your negative patterns, your beliefs, your past loves, the previous times you've had your heart broken. There's no room in your cup for anything new. So what you're needing to do is dump out that cup. Let some of it go. And that's what this full moon is doing. It's making room in your cup for that Three of Wands abundance energy to flow into it. The Ace of Cups is also about healing. So the wounds that you're facing around the Ten of Swords, they're being healed. This is a new energy that's helping you in this transition. This is the Lion's Gate energy. Cups has to do with your emotions. As I said, you're being challenged by your emotions and letting your emotions rule you. And I feel like the Ace of Cups here is about a new beginning around your emotional energy in which you're healed, you're feeling stronger, you're feeling more empowered in that sense. And the full moon has a lot to do with our emotions because the moon rules our emotional energy. And when we have full moons, what happens? We get very emotional. That's why people go crazy at the full moons. And for some of you, you might be feeling that. That might be part of your struggle, is that your emotions are coming to the surface. And as I've talked about before, you need to release old emotions. This is, I guess, similar to what I'm saying in the cup. Because those old emotions can block off your heart energy. And so we have to begin to feel the things that we've been repressing in order to allow our heart to open. So that's part of the healing energy. That sometimes that healing doesn't feel good. Sometimes when we heal, we have what's called a healing crisis. Right? And that is when we feel worse. We feel worse before we get better. Sometimes that happens. But you want to, pick yourself up. Get back into the flow of abundance. Don't let yourself sink down. Do things right now that bring you a sense of peace and a sense of balance. Try and get out in nature. Do things that bring you joy. Dance. Getting in touch with your feminine energy in general is going to be helpful. Like, embrace your feminine side by nurturing yourself. I feel with the cups energy too, it's talking about your intuition expanding as well. Let's get a little bit deeper into this. What we're healing. Okay, so some of the energy that's coming up for you around healing has to do with your father, the relationship with your father. And part of this is because we're healing the divine masculine energy in general. And part of that healing revolves around how you view masculine energy. And a big factor in how you view the masculine energy is going to be your relationship with your dad, because that imprinted on you early. So for example, if your dad wasn't around, that's going to leave an abandonment wound, and that's going to get triggered when you interact with the masculine energy. If your father was controlling, that's going to affect how you see the masculine. Also got the card Knighthood. This is from the Past Life Oracle deck I'm pulling from. Knighthood. Again, knights are seen as masculine, the masculine energy. And it's that energy of protection is what I'm getting. And I've talked about this in several readings, but on the card we have a knight in armor holding up his sword. It's that we have to take our armor off right now in order to let our hearts awaken and shine. And it's the masculine energy within us all that wants us to keep that armor on. Because that's what the masculine knows. We can't blame the masculine energy for that. That's what they've been taught. It's what they've known. You got to protect yourself. You got to be strong. You got to be a warrior. It doesn't leave much room for softness. And Divine Feminine, embrace your softness right now. Let down your guard. So we got food and hunger. nourishment. How do you nourish yourself? Don't just think of it in terms of food, but from our childhood, the role of food plays a role. But this is saying karmically, we're healing a wound around food and hunger. For some of you, it could literally be food, but for others, it's just caring for self, nurturing self. Do you give yourself food and nurturance when you need it, or do you withhold it from yourself? Do you withhold it from others? So that's some of the karmic situations that's coming up around this full moon. Let's see what we need to surrender for healing at this full moon. Surrender to passion. Get out of your head and feel the fire in your belly. Focus on the people or activities that ignite your passion. Let it flow. Okay, remember I got a message through about the awakening card. It's embracing our passionate side. And this card is confirming that. What makes you feel alive? Do more of that. It's that passionate energy that is needed for you to manifest your desires, because this is where our creativity flows from. Surrender to receiving support and love. Allow the love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. Okay, and this is that Ace of Cups energy and also that food and nurturance card that I pulled. Are you open to receiving love and support from yourself and from others? One of the wounds of the Divine Feminine is she wants to do everything. This is not actually the Divine Feminine. That's the Patriarchal Feminine. Wants to do everything, control everything, be everything to everyone. I've got to care for everybody. Okay, we need to step back from that energy. We aren't responsible for everyone. We have a certain responsibility to our children, but even then, sometimes it goes too far, and we try to control our children's lives. It has to be equal reciprocation. It has to be balanced in giving and receiving with other people. Surrender your desire to control people. Being over-controlling can sabotage relationships. To more effectively achieve your goals, back off, regroup, and give the situation some breathing room. We can't control other people. We can only control ourselves. But when we give so much of ourselves, that's a way of controlling. I feel like a big thing with this card, surrender your desire to control people, is like saying, hands off the Divine Masculine right now. You can't control what's going on with him. So just step back from it. Surrender. Regroup. Give the situation breathing room, especially if your twin is showing you signs and signals that they're not ready to talk to you right now. But that's okay. They're just wanting space to do their own healing work because they're really in the thick of things at the moment. So that's what the feminine is healing. What is coming up in the future for the Divine Feminine energy? 10 of Cups. Another 10. There's a lot of 10s and 1s in this reading. So there's a lot of new beginning energy coming in. Ten of Cups here is representing a balance in the emotional state. You're culminating that journey through the Cups energy, getting control of your emotions, and allowing love in. It's like the flip side of the Ace of Cups. It's like you've cleared out your cup, and now here's the love coming in. The joy, the happiness, the abundance, the attainment of everything. It's that awakening card that we talked about for what's positive. Awakening on a new emotional level and allowing the flow of love throughout your entire life. I'm just getting for some of you that there's going to be some shifts in your home. You could be moving to a new place. Someone could be moving out. If you're in a karmic relationship, there could be a shift within that karmic relationship coming up in the future. If you're in a karmic relationship, there's a lot of clearing of karma around that relationship right now, but that relationship feels very heavy, I feel. It's kind of a struggle to hold it together, and that might be why I'm feeling like there's a change. There's a change in it, a change in the home. Even if there's not a physical separation, I feel that on an emotional level, you're going to feel like you're not connected to that person. And part of it is going to be that because our third eyes keep awakening more and more, you're seeing the truth of that relationship on a deeper level. And it's time to have a discussion with those karmic partners. For some of you, you might be traveling, you might be going on a vacation, and that's when the discussion is going to occur. Okay, what is the message of the divine feminine to the divine masculine? Engagement. It's this card over here. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. I feel like you're telling the divine masculine that you're expanding, you're ascending, and that's pulling your relationship with it. When I see this card, I think ascension energies. Not necessarily that there's an engagement, although for some of you there could be an engagement. But it's more like you're deepening your ascension process. You're deepening your heart awakening, and that is deepening the relationship to each other. You deserve love. So, Divine Feminine, you're also saying to the Divine Masculine, you are lovable. You deserve love. And that you hope that he chooses love for himself. And breaks free from any situations in his life where he's not getting the love that he deserves to get. All right, let's talk about Divine Masculine. What's the focus, or I'm sorry, what is the Divine Masculine healing right now? We have the card Triumph. This is also a transition. The Divine Masculine and Feminine are mirroring each other here in the sense that they're both going through a major transition process. This is the ending of something. Divine Masculine, you are going through a purification process, a releasing of the old. I feel like for the Divine Masculine here, he's going to be making a decision because this Triumph card is the card after Judgment. The Judgment card requires a decision, and that, we're going to be talking about this in a minute. Decisions need to be made here. And this is the challenge. It's for him to make the decision to take the next step into triumph. It's like he can stay in fear mode, he can stay where he is, or he can choose to triumph. And in order to get to the triumph, there's a healing that needs to take place. A healing around his own energy, his own masculine energy. Embracing the divine masculine versus the patriarchal masculine. And in doing that, allowing his divine feminine to enter and balance and rise. The patriarchal masculine is kind of afraid to let the divine feminine energy in, where the divine masculine energy embraces the divine feminine. The divine masculine understands that his intuition and his heart is what needs to rule him and empower him, not controlling things, not wanting to manipulate other people or control other people. So there's a shedding of some of those old those old patriarchal masculine templates. Now it's coming up as a challenge, but because this is the Triumph card, I know that the masculine is going to triumph over this challenge. They're going to succeed at it. They have to succeed at it because it's time for the divine masculine to rise. There's also an element here of the connection with each other, the triumph of that connection. If we look at the union cards and the attraction, the awakening, the desire card, there's a pull from the divine masculine to the divine feminine that's shifting them, that's awakening them to a deeper level of this connection, awakening to the immortality of this connection. This is a divine connection that cannot be broken. For some, I feel that their connection to past lives is going to become stronger. If we look at the union energies and that awakening card again, the awakening, the desire card, we talked about the emotional connection, balancing our emotions. The divine masculine energy is also doing this in the sense that they're awakening to their emotional selves on a new level. They've been trying to shut down their emotions for so long, but through their rebirthing process, this is awakening them. And that's what I'm getting again, the judgment card. The judgment is that transformation, rising from the dead, becoming more impassioned. They're not sleepwalking through life anymore, but that passionate side of them, that creative side, has to bloom now. And part of that is waking up to the eternalness of this connection. And that's part of what is impassioning them. And it's healing them too. As I said, big releasing time for the masculine energy, a purification process. How can he overcome this challenge? We have the Wheel of Fortune, another 10 card. Okay, so in a big picture, Wheel of Fortune, he is going to overcome this challenge by surrendering to the universal flow. And that's leading us back to the Three of Wands card and the union energy. Waiting for the ships to come in. He surrendered to the shifts and turns, the upheavals of the universal plan right now, which is that Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune represents the fixed energies, which are being activated right now. Uranus in Taurus, North Node in Leo. Of course, the Sun is in Leo, Mercury's in Leo as well. We have Jupiter in Scorpio and South Node, Mars, Moon in Aquarius. The fixed energies, their power lies in the fact that they persevere. They stay focused on a goal until the end is achieved. And I feel like that's another message here. Divine Masculine, they are persevering. They are dedicated to this energy. The ability for this relationship to triumph. So there's a lot of change and upheaval going on with the masculine right now. As I said, they're being persistent. They're not going to give up. They're going to make the transition. On a more intimate level, we see Jupiter here. your divine masculine is feeling you more. He's feeling the connection more. As his intuition awakens, he's understanding that a lot of things that he's been feeling has been connected to you all along, and maybe he didn't recognize it. He's wanting to come forward to you. And he has to, in order to get to this Triumph card, and look at these two cards right next to each other, in order to get to this stage, he has to allow himself to come forward towards you. On a whole energetic level, he is growing. And it's 2:22 on the clock right now. His sensitivity to things, his sensitivity to spiritual things, his sensitivity to energies of all sorts, to his intuition, to his emotions and his feelings, all of these things are increasing. And all of that is deepening his connection to you. And the universe is going to lead him right where he needs to be. Okay, so I pulled some karma cards here for him. Spirituality and religion, biblical and communal living. Okay, there's definitely a theme here. Religious templating. Okay, when I look at communal living, what I got was priesthood. Priesthood, monk, high priest, any of those things. Going with biblical and spiritual. So there's some religious templating that your twin may be facing right now. Clearing some of that templating. Could also have to do with spirituality, embracing more of their spiritual side. Well, I just talked about how his energy is becoming more sensitive to what they're feeling on an energetic level. That could be bracing that spirituality. And what I'm feeling is it has a lot to do with the patriarchal control. And one of the ways, one of the most prevalent ways and the insidious ways that the patriarchy has controlled the masculine energy, and the feminine for that matter, is through religion and spirituality. And having all these rules imposed upon us. It's a way of control. And one of the worst words we have in our vocabulary is should and shouldn't. And when we talk to ourselves in should and shouldn't, a lot of that has to do with our religious templating. And it has a lot to do with feeling whether we're good or bad. Am I a good person or a bad person? Are my thoughts bad or are they good? And it's taking me back to that desire card where I talked about integrating the shadow. Okay, the masculine energy has to face their shadow right now. And I'm feeling that for many, they haven't wanted to see some of their darker energies because of many lifetimes of religious templating. And I'm also feeling like what they believe on a spiritual level. Some may have a hard time at the minute trying to see themselves as spiritual. There can be a kind of a negative connotation, you know, for males. I don't want to make sweeping statements, but in the patriarchal masculine, in the ego energy, there can be kind of a belief that spirituality can be like poo-pooed or, oh, that's just a bunch of bunk. Until you start living it, until all these things start happening to you, you start becoming more sensitive till you start seeing spirits and you start astral projecting and you start having crazy dreams that start coming true. And then guess what? You have to embrace spirituality has truth. And I feel like for some, that's where they're at. Like they're going to be shown, hey, this is true because you're going to start living it. Just like the divine feminine's been living it. And maybe they've been poo-pooing the energy of the divine feminine as being silly or not real, like a fantasy world. And they'll be shown. They'll be shown it's not a fantasy. Okay, what they need to surrender. Surrender comparisons to other people. Keep your eyes trained on yourself. Focus on your own strengths, attractiveness, and power. So this is having to do with him healing his self-esteem. And maybe he's, in his mind, compares himself and feels like he doesn't measure up to other people. So he's being asked to surrender that right now. We are who we are. It's part of embracing ourselves. Just saying, you know, yes, this is who I am. Maybe that person can do something better than me. But that doesn't make me any less of a person. I have my own strengths, my own skills. The things that make me special and beautiful. Surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. Let go of limiting ideas about yourself that originate from the past. Then you can own your power and soar in your life. That goes again with their self-esteem and healing beliefs that they're not good enough, or any belief that is making him feel limited, that he can't move forward. Surrender to the magic of who you are. We all have magic in us, even in the mundane aspects of life. Remember that you are a magical being with a uniqueness and worth that comes from just being you. I feel like that's kind of a confirmation of what I said about their life is going to get a lot stranger. Magic is going to enter the world of the divine masculine. Just like the feminine has been living in this world of magic, Spirit is going to show them the truth here. The magic of who they are. That they have magical gifts and abilities. That they can create their life, the life that they choose. What is coming up in the future for the divine masculine? Power. This is the Emperor card. Divine masculine energy is becoming more powerful and more empowered in the right sort of way. Again, it's not about controlling others, manipulating people. It's the correct use of power. being a strong leader and ruler, leading by example, leading through love. We're in the energy of Leo that represents the king. And we're bringing the divine masculine energy into his kingship. And this shows that he's healing some of those self-worth issues. And very soon he's going to be seeing more of his own strength and power. Divine masculine's taking back control of their life right now. They're really blossoming into who they are. But, we've been through it and are going through it as divine feminine. We know that it's a challenge. So we have to honor them, honor the time that they need to go through this energy. What is the divine masculine's message to the divine feminine? Keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. Well, divine feminine, this is him saying to you, he is freeing his mind. He's liberating his mind. He's removing some of these old patterns and templates that are allowing him to be more open, to be more open-minded, but to be more open in so many different respects. To be more open to his intuition, to be more open to following his heart. Also calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. So he's saying to you that he wants this relationship too. He's also trying to manifest this relationship through asking, through prayer, and his ability to manifest that creative energy. He's using it. And he wants to tell you that he's forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. The divine masculine, where they're at right now, they're doing so much healing on a karmic level. And it's like he's saying to you, keep that in mind. He's learning his lessons right now. And part of that is forgiving you, forgiving himself, forgiving those around him. He has to go through this in order to release his ego. The ego is blocking the energy of forgiveness. So have patience is what I'm getting. And don't take things personally. Take things personally. I talked about in my astrology report the two sides of the wound of the masculine and feminine, and how the feminine, her wound is not being seen. And so she chases and seeks validation from the masculine. The masculine's wound is fear of being seen as emotional or weak or not being in control. And so he runs and hides from the feminine because he fears that she's going to see through him. Okay, but these are our own projections as a collective that we're projecting onto each other, that we're needing to heal in order to facilitate unions. I wanted to just talk about that a little bit more here. So how can the feminine heal her wound? Well, as long as you are seeking validation from your masculine, you're in that wound, and you're going to push your masculine energy away. Because on a soul level, he can't give you validation because you need to heal that within yourself. Right? That's why the masculine can be so hard on the feminine. And yeah, it gets frustrating, but the more you seek his validation, the more he has to reject you on an energetic level. It's the push and pull of twin flames. So what you do to heal that is you work on the empowerment of the self. You get validation from yourself. You don't seek his validation. Then you don't need to project that onto him, that you're constantly desiring him to validate you by talking to you or by encouraging you, acting a certain way for you. There was something that I wanted to say and that went out of my mind. You have to validate yourself. And then whatever he's projecting on you, his fears that he's projecting on you, you don't take it personally. He tries to project his fears on you, you just say, you don't literally say, but in your heart, in your soul, you're like, no, I'm not going to see, you might be acting out, but you're not acting out because of me. You don't take it personal. You don't, because when you're seeking his validation and he acts out on you, what do? You fall apart because you feel like, oh, he's like threatening who I am, or he's not giving me the validation I need. When you don't seek it, then when he tries to act out towards you, you stay in your balance. You don't just say well, sorry, mate, that's your own fear. And you got to deal with that yourself. I'm not going to take that onto me. I know who I am. I know what the truth is. I know what we are to each other. And if you need space, I'm just going to give you space. For the divine masculine, he's got to heal by accepting those things about himself that he fears you seeing. He fears you seeing his sensitive side. He feels you seeing his true heart. He fears you seeing him being emotional or not seeing him at his best. Not seeing him as, hey, I'm the strong warrior man. I've got everything under control. I don't need your help. I don't need you in my life. These are all their inner fears that they project onto you. When he accepts those parts of himself, when he accepts his truth, when he accepts his soul, he doesn't need to project those fears onto you anymore. He doesn't care whether you see those parts. And he's accepted that you're not here to hurt him. Hopefully you're not there to hurt him. You're not here to pick those wounds. But there might have been times in his past where there were partners in his life that picked those wounds. And so maybe that has fed into those fears. So what you do is you send the energy of love and acceptance. Accepting them and loving them unconditionally. And eventually they will understand that the love between you is unconditional. They don't have to fear those parts anymore. That's not part of the divine masculine. That's part of the patriarchal masculine energy. Fear of not being strong. what's going on in karmic relationships on the divine masculine's part? Sacrifice, 4 of arrows, and the moon. Well, their karmic partners are trying to pull them back right now. They're trying to hold on to them pretty tightly at the moment. And the divine masculine has said that he's learning to forgive and he's learning things. And I feel like part of that is he's in the situation he's in because he's learning. It's teaching him something. The sacrifice card here is saying that he's making a sacrifice in the moment. He's staying in that relationship when he really doesn't want to be, because there's a wound that needs to be healed, not just with him, but with the karmic partner and with the families that they're in. But as I said, the divine feminine's, or not the divine feminine, the karmic partner is trying to hold on to them pretty tightly right now. And I also got the retreat card here from the romance angels. Time to disconnect from the world. For the divine feminine, I didn't mention the card. For the divine feminine and karmic relationships, I pulled honeymoon. So there could be a situation around traveling, going away, doing something together with like them and the karmic partner, to talk. But there's a disconnect. I mean, we have retreat and we also have 4 of arrows, which represents needing to go within, needing to be alone. And this card, though, we have Psyche and Cupid sleeping together in the bed. But there's turbulent energy in those relationships at the moment. And I feel the divine masculine is trying to, on some level, retreat from that energy and get some space. Maybe traveling alone somewhere or going somewhere alone. But then we have the illusion card, which is the moon card. In this deck, it's called illusion, and I feel like the illusion of the relationship is being shown to them. What they thought was there is not really there. Like, illusions are coming to an end. From the Romance Angels deck, I also pulled unrequited love. There's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. So I feel like for the divine masculine, they have not been feeling a strong sense of love and attraction to their partner. And I've been getting that for a while. And I also got new love. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. So for those in a karmic partnership, they're seeing, I feel like the illusion that's being shown to them is the love with the karmic is not real love, and they're feeling a stronger pull towards you. There's a sense of newness within the love that they're feeling. All right, so what is coming up in the future for this union? We have the 2 of arrows. So we're coming to a crossroads here after this eclipse. A lot of people are finding themselves where they have to make a choice. What direction are we going to go in? For right now, there's a balance. There's a status quo, and there's been a kind of a block for some, not being able to move forward, especially I think on the part of the divine masculine energy, not being able to move forward. But what's happening is that crossroads is happening, and they're being asked to choose where they're going to go. Again, there's a balance, a balancing of the energies. But generally in this card, there's a woman blindfolded. Here's Psyche sleeping. Her eyes are closed. And it represents not wanting to see something, holding back, being under that sense of illusion. And I'm going back to that awakening card. So waking up here, taking the blindfold off, seeing past the illusions. Any choice that's made has to come from the heart now. I pulled two goddess cards here as well, and I got Ishtar, boundaries, and Mary Magdalene, unconditional love. So Ishtar's message is that we need to have good boundaries. Love yourself enough to say no to others' demands on your time and energy. This is part of coming into selfhood. Whether you're divine masculine or feminine, it's about your empowerment. You standing up for yourself, setting boundaries where you need to set boundaries with people. And I don't even want to give the sense that it's like a harsh energy, because what I'm picking up from it is really just there's a sense of empowerment. There's a sense of sovereignty coming through. And we're living from our soul now, from our heart and our soul. And we're doing what is in alignment with us. And if something is not in alignment with us, we're choosing to put a boundary there and saying, no, thank you. No longer allowing other people to control who we are and what we are. Mary Magdalene's message, unconditional love. Love yourself, others, in every situation, no matter what the outward appearance may be. So again, we're coming into a state of unconditional love, starting with ourselves. But also when I look at the Two of Arrows, it's like everything that we choose from now on has to come from our heart, from a place of unconditional love. And in that way, we find balance. Many twin flames, empaths, starseeds, light workers, too sensitive. They give in to people all the time. When we set boundaries from a place of unconditional love, again, we're not doing it with a harshness. We're not doing it in an ego energy or in an energy of putting on our armor and protecting ourselves, but we're doing it with unconditional love in the sense of, I'm sorry, I have to choose me. I'm going to do what's best for me in a place from unconditional love. And in that way, we're not creating a karmic situation with the other person. And for some of you that are in a karmic relationship, these cards here are going to relate to that karmic relationship and perhaps needing to say no, setting boundaries and saying no to that relationship, choosing unconditional love. What facilitates you in that energy of unconditional love. And then look at these beautiful cards that we have from the Romance Angels. First one is trust. The situation is calling for you to have faith. We are all being brought into a new level of trust with this full moon. Doesn't matter if you're divine feminine or divine masculine. We're asked to trust the situation. We're asked to surrender. The divine feminine is surrendering into a state of balanced control, a state of abundance, a state of opening her arms to all the good that's coming. Letting go of the old fears and emotional struggles just trusting in the situation and trusting that Spirit's moving you where you need to be. The Divine Masculine is being awoken more in his intuition, and he is trusting the process more, and he's trusting the connection to you more. And he is also trusting in the spiritual guidance that he's getting and how he's being shown to move forward. And then we have the card worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. And I think I must have pulled these cards in this place. Like, it seems like I pull them all the time. But that's the message. Divine timing is at work here. Because of the clearing that we're doing, the karmic nature of things, everything is happening in that divine time energy. We may hate it, we may struggle against it, but it is what it is. Journey of Love card for unions. Number 64, again, a 1. Sensual Awakening. Within the sacred temple of your body, your soul experiences the vast buffet of life made manifest. Your sensuality is a way for your soul to express appreciation, pleasure, and joy. Your sensuality is much like your creative energy. It needs to be expressed regularly, otherwise it can become muffled under a fuzz of too much thinking. You're being called to experience your sensual nature again. You are beautiful and vivid, striking and appealing. Allow your sensual appreciation for yourself and others to flow and enjoy this unique experience of being a soul awakening and a body awakening. It's all love. This oracle brings you guidance that your sensual nature needs to play, and it doesn't require an external lover to do so, though that is one way, of course. It can be expressed through massage, creating art, spending time in nature, swimming, dancing mindfully, feeling the sun or air on your skin, drinking aromatic tea, or taking a bath. Play with what feels good for you and enjoy the indulgence. It will bring you renewed energy, and apart from that, it's fun. So again, awakening, we have that awakening card up here, awakening to our passionate side. But, okay, now I fully understand. We're awakening that passionate side of ourselves while still being able to maintain control of ourselves on an emotional and energetic level. That's what the awakening and the desire card is representing. So yeah, we need that passion and that fire, that sensuality. We don't want to be so pulled around by our emotions that we don't really have control of ourselves. So that passion, as I said, is so important to our ability to manifest everything that we are wanting to. So get creative. Find some enjoyment in your world wherever you're at. Let's see what the poem is. I dare not touch my heart's desire that sings a melody so still, and lights within a yearning fire a void that you alone can fill. I cannot say how my heart aches, nor speak the words his embers burn. Such blessings come to those who wait, a love that asks not in return. An open soul a risk must bear to love without restrictions held, to reach another level rare, where two embraced as one are meld. To taste surrender's nectar sweet by piercing through the veil so thin, and bathe in joy his tears release, a promise dance begins again. Letting go of the past and letting go of those past fears, finding the patience that this is in divine timing, that everything is coming, piercing through the veil so thin. Well, the veil is gone. The veil is gone, and a promised dance begins again. It actually reminds me of another song that I got a message from in the springtime, and it had to do with Lunar, which is on, it's actually today, if you're following the traditional calendar. Others celebrate it on August 1st, but in that song that's called Lunar by Fawn, it talks about dancing, being led into the dance, and it talks about a vicious circle ending and a new beginning and the joy of seeing each other again after a long separation. That is the energy that's coming in with this full moon for twins. It's like that vicious karmic cycle. We're ready to end it. And we're ready to start a new beginning, to start fresh. And we're creating it. Thank you so much, guys. I hope that reading gave you some confirmations that you were seeking, confirmed some things for you, or gave you some insight where you weren't clear. If you would like a personal reading, my website is Twinstrology. Thank you for liking this video and for subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. I love you guys. Be sure to nurture yourselves, and I will speak to you very soon.